Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a brand new episode of the weirdest videos from all over the internet. Without further ado, let's get to the video. Hope you enjoy.
Wow. Lucy Letby, innocent. 14 neonatalists have just found that the skin tone argument that was used in the Lucy Letby trial is insufficient. They have found that the children that she is accused of murdering and attempting to murder actually died of natural causes. How absolutely awful for the parents of these babies having to be dragged through this again. It's bad enough that they've lost their children, but this possibly could either lead to a retrial or a huge miscarriage of justice. I watched the documentary about Lucy Letby, and the one thing that stood out to me was her complete shock when she was arrested for the murder of these children.
To be honest with y'all, I've never heard of Lucy Letby before. I'm probably gonna have to look it up after this video. But from what I hear from this lady, it's obviously a very sad and unfortunate thing. And hopefully Lucy Letby is an innocent woman, because, you know, unaliving people's kids isn't a nice thing to do. On to the next one though.
So in the Idaho murders, this new tweet has been making the rounds. Let's jump into it. So a tweet from the account of Gerard Corsi reads, "Official identification of the accessory who actively participated in the Idaho murders is imminent. Look for this second arrest in this terrible case and further horrifying details about the extreme mutilation done to the sole male victim with the second knife." So I don't believe that any evidence that has been disclosed thus far would point us in the direction of a second suspect, but I do believe that the one truthful part about this are the injuries to Ethan, and here's why. So if we go back to the affidavit, I always found it very interesting the way that they laid out discovering his body and then instantly went into a redacted section, and I am going to assume that that is from the coroner's office, but I always found that interesting. I just never understood why they would describe Ethan in the way that they did versus the others that they described. It just kind of hit me different. As I said in a prior video,
If you feel like you've seen every true crime documentary, you've come to the right place. Here are all the new ones coming out in January. I'll have a full list to screenshot at the end, and I do this every month, so make sure you like and follow to stay up to date. The Murder of Joanna Yates revisits the case of a woman murdered on Christmas Day in 2010. Her case became a media sensation, with the press focused on only one person. The Cult of the Real Housewife is about Real Housewives of Salt Lake City star Mary Cosby and the inner workings of Faith Temple Pentecostal Church, which she runs with her husband/grandpa. You heard me right. The Cult Behind the Killer, the Andrea Yates story, looks at how extremist religious teachings and isolation allegedly influenced a mother before the 2001 drownings of her 5 children. Harlan Coben's Final Twist brings Coben's signature storytelling to real-life cases, following threads that expose the hidden lives of seemingly ordinary people. We're getting season 2 of The Curious Case of, and they'll continue spotlighting bizarre, headline-making crimes with a new case in each episode. Killer Confessions, Case Files of a Texas Ranger dives into cold and nearly closed cases, where a Texas Ranger named James Holland uses his unique brand of interrogation tactics in cases once considered unsolvable. Vice News presents Epstein Didn't Kill Himself. The title kind of says it all, but it explores how the mysteries surrounding Jeffrey Epstein's life and death sparked widespread distrust, unanswered questions, and a conspiracy that refuses to fade. The Hillside Strangler breaks down the late 1970s killing spree that terrorized Southern California, detailing how 2 relatives murdered young women and hid it in plain sight before they were exposed. Handsome Devil examines the 2019 murders of 2 women in Cape Coral, Florida, where charisma, manipulation, and online obsession complicated the public perception of a killer. Kidnapped Elizabeth Smart revisits a 2002 home abduction that became one of the most watched missing person cases in U.S. history. 33 photos from the ghetto centers on rare images secretly taken during the Warsaw Ghetto Uprising, documenting crimes against civilians from a perspective nearly lost. Here's your full list to screenshot for the month. Let me know which one you're most interested to watch in the comments, and make sure you follow so you get these lists every month.
That was funny, to be honest. I really don't mean to make fun or laugh at the murders, because that's not the thing that I'm finding funny. But is it just me, or did you also hear the lady say, she was talking about the other lady saying that her husband also being her grandfather? There's literally 8 billion people on planet Earth, and you choose to mate and reproduce and basically marry your grandfather. Like that was your only option? No wonder y'all are involved in a murder case. You people are unstable. What are you doing marrying your grandfather? Man, just on to the next one. I have nothing to say. I mean, I don't want to say it's making me mad, but it's confusing me. I've never heard about this before. Her grandfather, also her husband. Man, get out of my face.
You're most interested to watch in the comments. And make sure you follow so you get these lists every month.
There are 5 criminal trials you need to be following in 2026, part 2. Coming in hot, we have Lindsay Clancy. This case literally broke the internet because there were so many women that were on her side because she was dealing with postpartum psychosis and a whole bunch of other things. Lindsay Clancy is being charged with unaliving her 3 young children in her home in January of 2023. Following the events, she decided to throw herself out of the window in hopes of unaliving herself, but did not succeed. She is now paralyzed from the waist down. Clancy's defense has maintained the whole time that she was suffering from postpartum psychosis, and there's actually a trail that leads up to this, but it's definitely teetering on the break of either premeditated or not premeditated because there were certain things that happened up to this event that may make it seem as if it's premeditated. Her trial is expected to begin in July. While we're talking about Lindsay's, the second case you want to be following is Lindsay Shiver. Lindsay Shiver is accused of plotting with her boyfriend and another man to unalive her then husband, who was a former Auburn football player, Robert Shiver. Lindsay is expected to stand trial in March of 2026. Next is Shanna Gardner and Mario Fernandez. Aldana, I think is his second last name. And they are charged with the unaliving of Gardner's ex-husband, who was a Microsoft executive, Jair Bridgen. Bridgen was pew-pewed down in the street shortly after dropping off his young children, the children that he shared with Gardner. At the time of the unaliving, Bridgen's youngest child was in the back seat or bucked into her car seat. Thankfully, she was not harmed. Investigators later found out that he was the victim of a murder-to-hire plot planned by Gardner and her current husband. The hitman actually came forward and later confessed and is now going to be a witness in her trial, which is expected to start in August of 2026. The next one is the case of Brendan Banfield, who is charged with the death of his wife, as well as Joseph Ryan, I believe. Both Christine and Ryan were gunned down in Banfield's home in February of 2023. Come to find out, it's all part of a larger scheme because he and the au pair were having an affair. The whole thing, and there's a whole bunch of little pieces that play into it, definitely a really good one to look into. And last but not least, we have Keefe D, who is being accused of unaliving Tupac. This trial is set to start in August of 2026. Let me know if you guys have any questions regarding any of these cases, and if you want a part 3, just like or comment.
What's with woman being named Lindsay and them unaliving everybody? Or I may have misheard her, but didn't she say that man, I messed it up, but y'all get the point. Is it just me or did she say that was it 2 or 3? I mean, a couple of them ladies were called Lindsay. Let me know if I'm wrong, but I'm sure I think I heard this correctly. So if any one of y'all is a Lindsay, please stay away from me. I'm not trying to make the list, I don't want to be next. What's wrong with Lindsay's, man?
In the photos that were released on the Idaho 4 case today, January 20th, 2026, everybody's asking, what's the blue stuff? Which I can understand why people are asking. It's everywhere. This is the kitchen. Here's a zoomed out photo all over the counters, stripped down the cabinets, even on the floor. And here, I'll move out of the way so you can see this one. And we've seen some of these already. Here's the sliding glass door near the kitchen where Brian Koberger is said to have entered the home. You can see it's all down the wall right there and all over the floor. Here's another photo of it. You can see it on the handle of the door and all down the railing and the stairs going up to the different floors. So what is it and what does it mean? Now, I'm not a forensic serologist, but I did get the opportunity to speak to someone who is, and here is what they said. This is amido black. It is a protein binding dye used in crime scene work. This is not luminol like so many people have been suggesting. Luminol would glow blue temporarily in the dark. Amido black does not detect blood. It's not used to identify a substance. It stains proteins, whatever their source may be. And it works in normal light, as you're seeing. It is permanent, which is why you're seeing the staining even after things have been moved. It can react to different things, such as cleaning products, food residue, other biological materials, or mixed or diluted substances. The color alone cannot identify what the substance is. You would need to refer to the documents of where blood was found and analyzed in the home. There was no blood found in the kitchen. This is not an indicator of a cleanup. This was a college house. We've already seen from the previously released photos that it was not by any means clean. It was very messy. This is not surprising. If there was a cleanup, don't you think that all of the blood in the rooms that were released today would have been cleaned up? No, this is not a blood test. This does not mean that there was blood all over the place or that there was a cleanup of the blood. These images show protein-containing residue patterns and liquid movement. These photos right here, you can't identify the substance.
So check this crazy ass loophole I just went through. I nutted in the condom. Put water in the condom. Okay? Then you want to take it a step further, put the condom over a light. At that point, you're going to see a homemade lava lamp. Not capping though.
I just saw the most.
For my viewers and my subscribers who have watched my previous videos, wasn't this the same dude in the last video? He's still talking about the same thing. I should cut him out of the video, but I want y'all to see this with me. Because I know I'm not crazy. That's the same dude talking about the same thing. Releasing bodily fluids and putting them on a lamp. Man, get this dude away from me.
You're going to see a homemade lava lamp. At that point, you're going to see a homemade lava lamp. Not capping though.
I just saw the most shocking documentary and it is so horrific I cannot even show the trailer. This criminal waited decades to get his revenge on the people who turned him in. If you haven't heard of this story, it's probably because the events happened in the UK. In the 90s, a man named Mr. McGraw won the trust of 2 innocent Brits. He even manipulated one into committing his crimes for him. If you're always looking for something to watch, make sure to hit follow because I post daily. When McGraw was caught, he was seen as such a threat to society that they placed him in a cage at the zoo instead of the prison. People thought that he was going to spend the rest of his life in a cell, but then the worst case scenario happened. Using the zoo computers, he hacked into an animatronic house gnome owned by the people who turned him in. In a truly diabolical act, he turned the moral compass of that gnome from good to evil. He then used that gnome to create a bunch of evil gnomes who used a submarine to break him out of the penguin enclosure at the zoo. The best part about this documentary is the recreations they made using claymation. If you're brave enough to find out what happens, watch Wallace and Gromit: A Vengeance Most Foul.
Oh yeah, one more thing. If y'all see me on Love Island, mind your fucking business, bitch. I'm trying to find love, bitch. Y'all had y'all motherfucking chance.
My name is Kristen Thorne. I'm a 5-time Emmy Award-winning investigative true crime journalist, and these are the top 5 true crime stories you're going to want to keep an eye on. I'll be keeping an eye on in 2026. First, Rex Heuermann, the man believed to be the Long Island serial killer. He's been charged with the deaths of 7 women, with killing them and burying their bodies across Long Island decades ago. He is set to go to trial in 2026. Number 2, the Alexander brothers, the luxury real estate tycoons who are now accused by the federal government of sex trafficking. Their lawyers have said nothing that these boys did amounted to sex trafficking. They partied a lot, they certainly were with a lot of women, but they say these women knew what they were getting into. If this case sounds familiar, maybe like Sean Diddy Combs, it is. It's almost the same exact case that the feds are trying to pursue. And in fact, the legal team now representing the Alexander brothers also represented Sean Diddy Combs. Number 3, the case against Matthew Nilo. He's a former New York City lawyer who's been accused of raping 4 women in Boston in the early 2000s. He has maintained his innocence. This case has been really quiet for the last year or 2, and I have a feeling in 26, as both sides continue to argue over some DNA evidence, that we may see some movement on this case. Number 4, the case against Nick Reiner, the man accused of killing Rob and Michelle Reiner, his parents. This is going to be a case that we're going to learn a lot more about in 26, including motive, what led up to this horrific incident in 2025. Not only Hollywood is going to be watching because they knew the Reiners so well, but the entire country, as families really struggle to understand how this happened and why it happened. Number 5, the Raspberry Killer, Zulma Guzman Castro. She lives in Colombia and she's accused of killing 2 teenage girls by poisoning chocolate-covered raspberries that she gave to them. One of the girls was the daughter of a man that Guzman Castro was allegedly having an affair with. Guzman Castro has been on the run since April and just recently was discovered struggling to swim in a river in the UK and was pulled from the freezing water. We're now learning that this man's wife died from the same metal being in her system in 2021. And we've learned that that husband and some of his sons also tested positive. Guzman Castro has said publicly that she has nothing to do with any of this. This is going to be a really interesting case to watch. And those, my friends, are the 5 true crime stories you should be watching in 2026. I will bring you all the updates here on my social media.
So when it comes to the lady who poisoned and unalived 2 little teenage girls for no reason, innocent girls for no reason, I mean, why would you, what does the daughter of the man you're having an affair with have to do with whatever you got going on, you know? Like, take it out on yourself. I mean, you're the one getting bent over and, what does the little girl have to do with this? Unaliving girls with strawberry-covered chocolate. I mean, you're pathetic. I hope they put you under the jail forever. And yeah, you're not going to be able to have affairs in jail. I mean, maybe with the fellow inmates. I hope it's going to be fun for you. You deserve it. And, since the lady brought up Diddy, imagine your name being Diddy. Out of all the names on the planet, you chose Diddy.
Updates here on my social media.
Did you know that 12 years before the disappearance of Summer Wells, her aunt also vanished? Hello, true crimers of TikTok. This is the case of Rosemary Bly. Viewer discretion is advised. Please make sure you subscribe to my YouTube and follow me on Facebook and Instagram as I post true crime stories there as well. Thanks. Rosemary Bly was born on September 16th, 1987, and she lived in St. Croix, Wisconsin with her husband and 2 very young daughters. Both of her daughters were under the age of 2. She would leave her home in St. Croix, Wisconsin at 7:30 p.m. on August 21st, 2009. Her plan that night was to take her car and drive to nearby Cushing, Wisconsin to meet her cousin at a bar. And she was driving her white 2001 Pontiac Grand Am. But she never made it to Cushing. According to her husband, Rosemary had called him at some point that night and said, "Hey, I'll be home sometime around midnight," but she never actually got home. That was the last time anyone ever heard from her again. She would be reported missing, and 5 days later, her car was found. Her vehicle was found in Grantsburg, which is roughly 30 miles from St. Croix, and about 15 miles away from where she said her destination was. Her vehicle was not damaged, there was no sign that anything went wrong in the car, the keys were missing, and none of her belongings were in it. No purse, phone, anything, all gone. Interestingly enough, about 3 weeks after her disappearance, her husband filed for divorce, which would actually be granted in 2010. He had actually tried to file for divorce previously, but then they reconciled. There were alleged domestic abuse issues between the 2 of them. She would hit him and he would put his hands on her, and it was just a hot mess. Police looked very heavily into the husband, and they were able to completely rule him out. In this divorce, he also sought to make sure that she couldn't come back and take the kids away. They had only, recently been married, too. But, again, the husband was cleared. He passed multiple polygraph tests. They could pinpoint where he was. Rosemary has this exact tattoo on the outside of her right ankle. She's approximately 5 foot, 110 pounds. She was 21 at the time of her disappearance, wearing a white tank top, a green V-neck sweater, blue jeans, and flip-flops. This is an age progression photo of what she may look like around this time. She had fallen off a horse, I guess, a week prior.
Anyways, your video is now officially over. Hope you enjoyed it. I know it was a little weird, but who cares? Hope you liked it. See you in the next one. Peace out.